Well, hello, I'm Jerry McKee, and welcome to Prime Time with Jerry McKee, and we're episode number 52. 1 year we've been on, and we episode 1, and let's see, I guess season 2 next week. So, but tonight we've got Dolton Williams, Director of Development Board here in Union, and also Deputy Director Jami Trammell. And they're going to tell you a little bit about themselves and a little about what does the development board do. And they can't give away some of their secrets, of course, but they can tell you a lot of the challenges that goes into this. You wouldn't believe what goes on in the background. It's not just like they sit back and wait for somebody to knock on the door and say, "Hey, we want to do this in the union." So it's a lot of work into it, and you get to hear and even ask questions if you like online. Just put them in the comment section and they will get back with you. So we're going to be right back right after these messages from Graham's Florist. Mother's Day is coming up. But it's always to get your wife some flowers. That works too.
Most important moments in your life. When you need to say congratulations, express gratitude, or say I love you. At Graham's Flowers, we deliver your deepest emotions. When you need more than just flowers, call Graham's Flowers your personal florist. At Graham's Flowers, customer satisfaction is guaranteed. Visit us at 208 East Main Street in Union, South Carolina, or call us at 864-427-2454.
Okay, we're back, and let me throw you some prettier faces than mine. And we have on your left, sometimes this thing reverses. So on the left, we have Jami Trammell, and we have Dolton on our right. And I tell you what, we'll go with Jami. We're going to go with you first. That way that you can kind of tell a little bit about yourself. And right now, I mean, you've had a lot of hats here in Union. Now, were you born and raised here in Union?
Yes, sir. I've been here in Union all my life. All my family's here. Been here, well, am I getting to the age where you shouldn't tell your age? I've been here 48 years.
48 years, wow.
Yeah.
My goodness. Well, you don't look like it's 48 years.
Well, it's 48 long years.
Yeah.
But 48 years, and the first part of my life had nothing to do with economic development. I worked for 10 years at Conso. Worked in the shipping room and shipping office, and when Conso closed, I wanted to go back to school. I had some college, and I wanted to go back to college and finish out my degree, and I wanted to do some business administration, and I felt like the time that I had spent in the shipping office at Conso could be coupled with that experience. I knew a little bit about manufacturing, knew a little bit about industry, and just a little about business, just a little enough to be dangerous. So I graduated from Limestone and answered an ad in the paper for a part-time, temporary assistant to Miss Andrina Powell Baker. And she hired me. I started out at 20 hours a week, not much more than minimum wage. And it didn't take her long. She hired me full-time, and I have progressed. She's mentored me, taught me a lot. Appreciate her. And
what with Limestone, what degree did you graduate from?
Business administration.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Now you talk about your minimum wage. It was a lot more than, I want to tell you my age, that my minimum wage was $1.70 an hour.
Right.
And I thought I was in the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to quit school and everything. Hey, this was rich.
But yeah, I'm a union girl.
Yeah, but your whole family is. I mean, you got your great family, and they're well known here in Union also.
Well, they help me a lot, and I appreciate them. They, when I get in the trenches, they go with me, so that's good.
Well, I know that they're there to help you, and that's great.
That's
and that's
true.
what family does. You know, they're supposed to help you.
They do.
And you gain a family member too.
Daughter-in-law, yeah, she's a blessing. She's the part you never knew you needed. This is a terrible imagery. We were, and I don't know if you've ever watched the Trolls. What are the Trolls?
Yes.
Trolls. They were black and white, and she's the color. So she brought the lively and the color to us.
Oh,
so
that's
she's
nice.
she's good.
Yeah. Now, Dolton, now you graduated from University of South Carolina like I did. Mm-hmm. And
Go Cox.
Yeah.
Yay.
Now, and I think it's pretty cool. Your degree is in entertainment and sports entertainment management.
Yes. So I was one of those students that had multiple majors throughout my college tenure. And I still don't know what I want to be exactly when I grow up, right? So I started out, I think the dream job for me was going to be working at ESPN, you know, whether that was in print journalism or on a Sports Center anchor, color guy. I realized I had a terrible voice. And
For radio or for television?
and a face for radio, and a voice for neither. So, you know, I sort of switched pump brakes, and then dabbled a little bit in mechanical engineering. And then I went into sports and entertainment management, which was pretty much, you know, a lot of business classes there. It's sort of the business of sports and entertainment from a professional level. Required a couple internships. I did get to intern. The last thing I did before receiving my bachelor's degree and graduation was the Winter Olympics in Whistler. It was in Vancouver, but the mountain sports were all in Whistler. That's where I was stationed. I worked at the Whistler Media Center there for a company. I actually got a job offer, but I recently got engaged just before that. So if I would have accepted the job, I would have moved directly to London to work at the O2 Arena. So who knows? But I think I made the right decision. You know, looking back now for sure.
Well,
And-
it's foggy in London, and you know, in
That's
Vancouver
right.
it's cold up there. So
That's right.
Yeah, you got the
That's right.
best climate.
Absolutely.
We're glad he made the decision he made.
But and really, I went to work for Department of Natural Resources right out of college. My wife attended law school at Charleston School of Law, so we lived in Charleston for a few years. And how I originally got back to Union was they had an associate director position at the Timpkin Sports Complex. Mm-hmm. So that sort of fit with what I thought I wanted to do, and applied, interviewed, and came back and worked there. Then we sort of, Kevin Shropshire and I worked there for a few years, and then there was some turnover in the county level where they sort of, with Becky Cobb and Sam, who had been there many years, they retired, and we were sort of handed all of recreational sports, and worked that, loved you know, getting out there, working with the kids, doing different events, things like that.
Timpkin's a big complex out there too.
It is a beautiful complex.
Yes.
At the time that it was built, it was probably you know, bar none, the best in the state. To be honest with you, now then, you know, obviously everyone else is constantly trying to up that game a little bit with the number of fields and things like that. So some of the you know, challenges that we had was just, you know, lack of hotels in the area. You know, as far as trying to go out and actually book tournaments week in, week out to guarantee these out-of-town teams to come stay. But and really, you know, hats off to everybody that's in Parks and Recreation, because you're working 60, 80 hours a week off the clock for half of that. Yeah. But it was interesting. But then my son was born. After my son was born, I kind of got the itch of looking for a reduced role,
Right.
especially from a timing standpoint. I think my wife wanted me to have a reduced role from a timing standpoint as well.
Now, you were born and raised here in Union, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And your wife?
Yeah, my wife. She wasn't born here. I think she was born in Asheville, and I think they moved to Union maybe when she was 5 or 6.
Oh, okay.
In that time frame.
Wow.
So
that just kind of tells you, both of you are natives here, so you really know know all the people around here even before you got these positions and things, and that makes a big difference, I think, in having positions like you all have and like other, even in our government here, that they understand people more. They understand, because Union is uniquely Union. And that's why it's named that.
Well, I think it definitely makes a difference, and we talk about this all the time. A lot of people, remember Union County as a textile town, and
Right.
Those textile towns, every community was pretty much built around a textile facility. But, things were different back then. You had all the mill villages, so everybody that worked there lived pretty close, from the plant managers all the way down. And now it's a little bit different because you're drawing from out of town.
Right.
A lot of this. So sometimes I think, and it's not knocking any of those folks that are driving into work, because we obviously need them. But I think you obviously have a little bit less buy-in if you're driving in from a different community than going home to a different community. So I think having those boots on the ground is definitely beneficial at many different factors. So,
and people don't realize that Union's growing, and when you got growth, you got a lot of change, and you got to change with it.
You do.
And that's something that we'll talk about here in a couple minutes, right after this commercial here in a minute, that we'll talk about that how you are growing and trying to grow Union with the people's guy, because we got 400 homes being built, plus hopefully another 85 somewhere over there on towards Lockhart, and that Adrena Powell talked about. And so there's things happening here in Union that all of a sudden, you're going to turn around, poof,
yeah,
there it is.
And I think, housing is very much in demand. There's a reason that, none of these houses are really publicly funded or anything like that. This is, private developers, private builders coming in. A lot of our local builders are building houses about as fast as they can and selling them immediately too. So there's definitely demand there. I think you're going to continue seeing that demand. Primarily, I think we're looking at the 176 corridor. We get called by housing developers once a week, it seems like, at least.
Wow.
So a lot of interest there, especially in that Jonesville area.
You're going to see some housing up in that area as well.
I've been kind of looking, because it's like I drive all around the place. I come through Woodruff, and I'm looking over there. They got like an explosion of houses. Of course, BMW's building a brand new facility there too, and which brings more people in, and people are looking for land. They're looking to come in, and I think the small town charm is what people are looking at, that's coming from other areas like New York and other places out, the big cities.
And one thing, Dolton said this, but the textile industry set us up for today. So all of the infrastructure that we were the textile capital of the world. Union County was known. There was a textile on every corner.
Right.
Every community was built around textile. And what we gained from that, after it went away, was all the infrastructure. So that equates to being able to feed the infrastructure for today, the housing, the everything that it takes to make it work. We have it. So, and that's an attribute of Union County.
I know some people say that, gosh, we're going to have all this growth here. We're not going to be able to, our small town charm is going to go away like that. I'm thinking, no, that's one thing when people are coming from these other big cities. that's what I fell in love with Union. I come out of Hickory up there, and it was fast paced, and when I came here, I just thought it was so wonderful. Like if I went to Walmart and there's two people in front of me, oh, how you doing? How's your family? And I was right here. I'm thinking, up there wasn't like it. It's just like get in, you get out. You didn't even know who your next door neighbor is. Mm-hmm. And I think people's wanting that charm.
Yeah.
And that's part of what Union is. It's got that charm. It hasn't lost that. And I don't think it will. I just think people will adapt to it.
And I understand, Dalton and I talk about this. We understand that there's been communities in the upstate, Boiling Springs, for example, who have outgrown themselves, who've grown way too fast, and it's just now they're bursting at the seams. That's not what we anticipate. We are looking at slow growth, slow and steady wins the race. And we feel like if things happen slowly, it's more adaptable for everybody.
It is. All right, we're going to come back right after this from Graham's Florist, and we're going to talk about, get into a little bit your jobs and what your daily jobs are, and what do you do, and because people really, they don't know. They just see things pop up, and it doesn't happen that way.
Most important moments in your life. When you need to say congratulations, express gratitude, or say I love you. At Graham's Flowers, we deliver your deepest emotions. When you need more than just flowers, call Graham's Flowers your personal florist. At Graham's Flowers, customer satisfaction is guaranteed. Visit us at 208 East Main Street in Union, South Carolina, or call us at 864-427-2454.
All right, we are back, and pick the little things right here. Now, we talked about your experiences. We talked about your growth in people in Union. Now, do you have to write a lot of grants, or you search for grants for certain things? Or I mean, I've heard different things. You did development boards and stuff like that. Some have grants they have to write for certain things. I didn't know if y'all had to do that or not.
Sure. I think, we have to write specifically for certain items. We help participate and support a lot of grants that go on throughout the county as well. But, industry specific, some things that we need. Typically we'll work with the county because most things are submitted through the county or city or another municipality, right. Rather than the development board itself. We work, with industries on grants, infrastructure grants, site improvement grants. That's a lot of the things that we sort of focus on to help us sort of develop properties. We assisted a little bit with the city and the town of Jonesville wastewater treatment grant, which the development board itself, going back further than me, has assisted with that for the previous 10 years. We've just sort of got lucky with some skip funds that came available in the state. And it was, I think, a $24 million project going forward to sort of extend the city of Union sewer pretty much to the Belt Building and to Tragus Industrial Park that we think really is going to help that corridor from a industry recruitment standpoint, I guess.
Yeah, and people realize that you got to have, if you're bringing in industry, you got to have water, sewer.
Yes.
That's going to accommodate. It's not like running it to your house.
And you have to have it. I mean, there can't be, well, we'll get it by the time you ramp up operations. It's hard to make that pitch when someone's looking to invest at $50 million, $100 million in a facility in your community. You sort of have to have that ready to go. That's almost, you're not competitive if you don't have that ready to go.
And we're taught speed to market.
Yeah.
That will get you eliminated. If a company's having to waste time waiting on you to set the table should already be set when they sit down. They are looking for a reason to eliminate you, and it's our jobs to stay in the mix, to stay in the fight as long as we can.
So y'all have to really check all the boxes, make sure everything's right. When you really could present them, you really got to have everything there.
All the I's have to be dotted.
It's so competitive now that every community has their own set of sites that they're submitting on a lot of these projects. And when I say competitive, it's not just Spartanburg County, Cherokee County, our neighbors. I mean, this is statewide. This is multiple states, multiple regions of the country, maybe different parts of the country. It's sort of what these projects are looking at. And it's really just a huge funnel process. They might start out, they might look at 250 sites throughout the United States. And, you want to be in that final 2 or 3 to get that final site visit.
And like Myco Works started with how many sites?
I think 180, somewhere in that ballpark.
180 sites that they started with, and when they were through, the funnel starts here.
Right.
And we were the winners. We pinch ourselves all the time.
Well, to me, 180 sites
Yeah.
in Pick Union, that is fantastic.
Myco Works has home offices in Milan, Spain. Help me, D.
What'd you say?
Milan, Spain.
Milan, Paris. They have presence in New York, obviously in Emeryville, where their headquarters is currently located, and now Union, South Carolina. So all your fashion capitals of the world are covered there.
So that's pretty neat, though. You talk about all these countries right here, and you are in Union.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Now, the solar panels. My understanding, what I've heard, I don't like rumors, so I heard like it, that this was a plus in getting Myco Works even here.
Well, I think what you're seeing, and you've seen it for the past 3-4 years, companies are putting an emphasis on renewable resources. Everyone's trying to lower their carbon footprint. So that is big. The fact that Lockhart Power was the power provider, and 100%, I think, of Lockhart Power generated power is from renewable resources. So that sort of blends into some of the things that Myco Works was looking for, and some of the things they were adamant about. Sure, absolutely.
They are a eco company just by their mission. The whole mushroom thing is
I think that's fascinating in itself.
is an alternative to leather, and it's a fine product, and it's just amazing. And if you were to say leather imitation, or they would be highly offended because it's so much finer than leather.
It's
But
probably more durable.
It is. It's a higher quality product than your typical, cow leather or animal,
Right.
other type of animal leather. And they run the tests. They've got the patents, and really, and they're not the only company of their kind that is doing this. They are probably the only ones that have the perfect formula for it and the secret sauce. But they have competitors just like every other company. But we're excited about Myco Works and just that sustainable footprint, and it kind of just goes well where they located. I mean, Midway Green Industrial
Right.
Park, you got the solar panels right there as you come in from 49. It just sort of all comes together, and that's sort of what we envision the remainder of that park being built out in, something that with companies that sort of value that sustainability footprint. And I don't know that we want to put a poultry processor beside Myco Works or anything like that. So you got to be careful with that. But I think that typically that's sort of how we're marketing Midway Green right now to those types of companies.
And once you got like Myco Works here, that's kind of like you got a step.
try.
Then look at the next steps. Well, here's a step here. I know G-Stump, a lot of people was commenting when these spec buildings were being built,
Sure.
saying, why are we doing this? Why? I mean, and I'll let y'all explain. Why are specs buildings that the taxpayers fund and do this build? What's the importance there?
Speed to market. Jami mentioned it earlier. Nothing gets you to market quicker than an existing building. But with a spec building, what it does is it offers you a certain size, like Midway Green spec building, that was designed to recruit a certain type of manufacturer. That was not, designed to bring in a warehouse or a distribution company or something. That was something that we were looking for, a capital-intensive project with high wages. And it was a partnership between Union County and Lockhart Power. And, any type of investment, there's going to be risk there, right? But, you sort of analyze all your data. You look at the types of projects that are looking in this region, the different manufacturers and industries that are looking, and that's sort of how you build your specs for your spec building. And, we never would have landed Myco Works. They never would have looked at Union County if that building was not able to be submitted.
And we don't know what we're missing right now by not having an available building. And this is how I explain it. When you go in Walmart, if there's nothing on the shelf, if there's no product, can you purchase? Nobody's going to be here if we don't have the product to sell. There's not a spec building that's ever been built by Union County that's sitting vacant right now.
Right. Well, I noticed, of course, like G something over there, that area, some of the spec buildings that I see in my travels, they're really kind of laid out like spec building that Union built here.
That's right.
And when I went in and do some video and things like that, what I noticed mostly is that it's vertical. It can change. Okay, you can either have these doors over here. You don't want these backup doors here. You go here. You got land to build on. You got so many things that they can do to cater to them.
And it's created so that they can knock out the walls. The panels are so that they can knock out a wall and go. The doors are created so that they can, and I mean drive-in doors, those dock doors. They're created so that they can pop those out and go. And there's not usually a floor in a spec building.
And I was going to ask about that because I noticed it was no floor, and I was thinking, well, maybe that's where plumbing, maybe certain plumbing.
Well, heavy manufacturing requires a certain thickness of floor. So if you're going to have a heister that's moving 20,000 pounds on it, you're going to need a certain thickness of floor. Rather, if somebody's doing distribution and is not going to be doing heavy stuff.
And you want to preserve as much limitation as possible. So, you don't want to go ahead and put in the floor, then all of a sudden you have a company that likes it, but they need, say, 24-inch, they have to dig deep. Maybe it's a stamping operation or something that's coming in there. So you want to design this building and make it suitable for as many types of projects as possible without limiting yourself too much.
So did y'all sit down with the engineers in building the spec building? Did you have to look at many to see what's going to really fit?
The team, we were not here when that was designed.
Right.
So the team that was here did for sure. There was a project team and everything went out for sort of bid design from civil, architectural, engineering. But I think the local team here, Development Board, Lockhart Power, and I think the city was probably involved, other folks at the county sort of came together and had a local project team that sort of designed the specs just based off the data that you're receiving for what would be easiest to sell and what you're trying to recruit. So every RFI that we get, number one, it'll tell you if they're looking for a building or if they're looking for a greenfield site to, construct from the ground up. Some years it's 70% looking for buildings. I think it's actually gone down a little bit to about 50%. And sort of maintaining that the past 2 or 3 years. But, between 100,000 to 200,000 square foot is still the majority of the building searches that we get. So, if we were to start construction on one, we would want, and we never get like a 50,000 square foot building request. So that's probably too small. I mean, we could go do that because typically that's the bare minimum you see from communities that are building their own spec buildings. So it's 50,000 square foot. That kind of gets you in the door. But we would want to mirror Midway Green pretty much with 100,000 square foot, 32-foot clear height ceilings, knockout panels, and the ability to sort of expand that building.
So you
at
got
least
to have the
double
acreage
capacity.
out there too, besides just
Yes.
as big as the building is to wherever they parking,
Sure.
trucks and
Yeah,
if
all
they wanna
those
expand.
ancillary items
Yeah.
that come with it. You know, we had a project that was the building on full build out was 600,000 square feet. They were looking for a greenfield, but in the RFI it actually said 10 acres. I told Jamie, I was like, you can't get that on 10 acres unless they just go vertical.
Yeah.
And the very next thing, one of the folks from Spartanburg Economic Development sent it back to the thread, was asking that. Then the person from another county was saying sort of the same thing. So,
They don't always know what they need.
yeah, that's true. Some
Right.
companies don't.
And that's where y'all come in to,
We will help them locate in Union County, provide them
if it's
full service.
Is there another spec building to be built?
Yeah, I think so. We've been working on it. And, we still, from the county standpoint, the public-private partnership is really a benefit to us. The problem between the time this building was constructed to now, construction prices have doubled.
Right.
So that is one of the things we've been working on for the past couple of years. We're working with Lockhart Power. We're doing some things at Midway Green. We're also looking at other private developers that would be interested to come into being a partner because, we know that we need one. But, I don't necessarily you don't want to allocate, say, $8 million of economic development funds right now, especially with the interest rates. You could always bond. There's always ways to do it. But we feel comfortable just continuing to work to find that partner that will come in and assist us with building in the 50-50 proposition.
Right. Now, I know the land's up on towards Jonesville up there. Mm-hmm. I didn't know the name.
Trachis.
Tracus, yes. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's an ideal place. I don't know how many acres it is there.
The total site is 160 acres. It's actually sort of divided into two large sites. There's a Trachis South. That's the one with the graded pad and the entrance sort of leads to. That's already been somewhat developed. There's 84 acres on that site. Now developable acreage, you're probably looking at around 50, just because of the wetlands and the topo once you get past the graded area there. So, but it's a beautiful site. I think the biggest thing, to be honest with you, the biggest thing has always been sort of that sewer there. The town of Jonesville's always had sewer on the site, but town of Jonesville is only permitted to treat domestic waste. So that's, they can treat like your big box Belt, Dollar General. They can treat that sewer system, but they couldn't treat manufacturing per se. So that's one of the big reasons why, it's huge needs that the city of Union's actually moving up there.
We feel like it's really going to open up opportunities for Trachis.
Yeah.
That 100% we feel like that's what's hindered it all this time. Because when you get closer to that county line, there, you've got Spartanburg's resources to pull from a little more. So it's a very beneficial site. Go ahead.
And not just Spartanburg, when we do workforce numbers, because that is probably the number 2 concern of all industries over the past couple of years.
Absolutely.
Workforce availability.
Well, let's come back to that right after this.
Go ahead.
From
Go ahead.
Flowers, and we'll be right.
Most important moments in your life. When you need to say congratulations, express gratitude, or say I love you. At Graham's Flowers, we deliver your deepest emotions. When you need more than just flowers, call Graham's Flowers your personal florist. At Graham's Flowers, customer satisfaction is guaranteed. Visit us at 208 East Main Street in Union, South Carolina, or call us at 864-427-2454.
All right, we're back now. Before we kind of cut off here a little bit, we was talking about workforce.
All right. It's always a fun chat.
Never.
With these, and that's probably just before they come into, say you had all the building, everything ready there. is that one of the questions that really pops up that's really...
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You know, depending on, well, even Myco works, right? I mean, they announced 400 new full-time hires that they're going to have at full ramp-up over the course of 5 years. So and when you look at our workforce availability, you can't just, and I mentioned this earlier about people driving in out of town, and you probably noticed we desperately need those people that are driving in from out of town. And that's true. We just don't have enough bodies of available workers, you know, when you're looking at a manufacturing organization. So, and that's sort of goes into my previous comment. I think when I submit Trachis and I pull a 30, 45 minute and 60 minute drive time radius, and you include that population
Right.
and that workforce that's available there, it definitely helps Union County's numbers tremendously. So
Well, that goes again with the housing coming here.
Sure.
That brings
Sure.
more people here, and you got more people that's workforce.
Well, growing is so important to recruiting industry. Industries, you know, back in the day, you know, like BMW. BMW came in and they just put together several different pieces of property and landed this operation there. You can't really do that anymore. People want to come to a growing community if they're going to invest the type of money that these manufacturers invest. Right? If I was investing $100 million, I would want to be sure that my workers had a nice community they could live in.
Quality of life.
Quality of life that they could sort of wouldn't have a problem people leaving. So the challenge, I think, historically, and when I say historically, I'm talking about 30, 40 years in Union County, has always been, there's in 30, 40 years, is all population has slightly declined. You know, every census that comes out, the previous 4, there's always been a slight decline of population. So you're sort of showing stagnation a little bit, whereas, you know, some of our neighbors are, you know, they've had that boom cycle off the 85 corridor especially. Right. So, you know, proximity to that 85 corridor, that's a big selling point for us. We market regionalism because, you know, we do have people coming in from Charlotte, Cherokee, Spartanburg, Greenville, Anderson, Greenwood, and even to the south. You know, people are coming here from Chester, Newberry, all the way down to Columbia, depending on the positions, right?
Well, and I think Union has got, like, universities growing.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That brings people in from all around.
That's
and
right.
they're going to see that, okay, you know, they got something here
Yeah.
that I can take my degree to. You got Spartanburg Tech. That and I know they in their facilities they have a lot of things that where they're training from some of the manufacturers here. That gives people that say, you know, not everyone wants to go to college.
Right.
A lot of people are not made for college.
The majority of the USC Union enrollment are not Union residents. They are from somewhere else. Some are even from other countries. Their parents are coming here to visit them. They're coming here to scout this school before they drop their kids off. There are lots of reasons that school is bringing people to this community.
And I was talking to the lady director that she's, I won't say entertainment, but she tries to find things for the students to do. I met with her the other day and was talking, and she said, yeah, she tries to find something for the students there to do
Right.
and to keep, you know, them entertaining as far as things. They got a nice center there for the students.
Right.
And she's very energetic and very positive about doing things. And when you got students here that sees, well, you know, I like to live here. You know, the people's nice. Everybody knows everybody, and that could be a good or bad thing.
That's right. That's right. And it's
Depends on the day, I guess.
yeah, it does.
But that's something, you know, that's very important to what we're doing, because economic development, I mean, we look at economic development from a holistic approach. And I think historically the development board, and Jami worked there for 8 or 9 years, you know, prior to her coming back in 2021. But, you know, the focus has always been on industry recruitment. That's just your biggest bang for your buck, most taxable investment, and the creation of jobs. and that is still our 1A. That's our bread and butter. You know, typically in manufacturing, because we're a manufacturing town. We always have been. But I think some of the things where we've sort of branched out since we've been back is sort of looking at some of these quality of life items, some of this small business development, and also because you're not going to land a Micro Works every year in a rural community. Like you're just not. I wish we could. And maybe one day we'll get to that point.
At the end of the day, we have to build the community that we're trying to sell.
Yeah, right.
We can't just sit back anymore. Like Dolton said, the mission of the development board has always been to recruit and retain industry. But if we just do that, all we're going to have is people driving in here to go to work and then driving back to where they came from. At some point, you have to start creating the homes, creating the entertainment, creating the restaurants. And it is the slowest go in the whole wide world, but every day we go to work and we try to reverse that decrease in that population number.
And I like to look at it as, you know, you mentioned earlier, but it's kind of just building blocks.
It is.
Right.
You know, just like we played as a kid. Just build those blocks and keep building. But, you know, I also, you know, phrase it this way. The Micro Works, that's a home run, but we need people on base too. So we have to hit some singles, some doubles, some triples, and the home runs will come.
And you know, I see a lot of times when we announce or stuff is announced on Facebook, even the smallest stuff, people want to say, we don't need that. Why don't y'all get a what the heck ever? Well, let me tell you, that's not how it works. It's not how it works at all. We don't go, well, we do, but we're having to convince somebody whose mind is already made up that this isn't where they want to be. The numbers don't match. They don't add up. Very early on in the retail game, I thought I could turn my nose up to something that I didn't think we wanted. And I was taught very quickly that retail breeds retail. Where Tractor Supply had told me no for 5 years, that Starbucks came, they immediately changed their mind and came to Union without another conversation. Retail breeds retail. And when they see the Starbucks, the Tractor Supply, the Harbor Freight, the Wendy's, when they see those things gradually coming, it goes ahead and lays the foundation. Well, why aren't we there?
Yeah. And I know, you know, some people say, well, what about our small business people? But the small businesses will reap
That's right.
with these big industries coming in. Because they got, you know, they're well known, like Harbor Freight, Tractor Supply. I'm glad to see it. You know, we got Wendy's that came in. We got, you know, and we got. I know we got a lot of restaurants, but we eat a lot. I mean, I go out and we go out all the time, but we have a variety now that before, when you only got a couple and mama pops one and stuff like, you know.
And we want more. You know, we just keep digging. We want more. We want more people. We want more housing. We want more retail, more industry. We want people to want to be here. I want people to love Union like I love Union.
And I think if you look, and Jami could probably take you back to the very start with the partnership with Retail Strategies, but if you look at the types of businesses that are evaluating the Union County market today compared to
3 years ago, 4 years ago,
that initial, you're kind of going up a little bit in tiers.
Absolutely.
And that goes back to the, you know, retail, driving retail. What is that? What you're saying?
Retail, the retail driving retail, the retail breeds retail. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So you're actually absolutely right. There's no reason, you know, for.
It's rooftops, right? And I think as long as you see sort of that growth, and the good thing is right now where, you know, this was not happening at all organically not too long ago, it's starting to matriculate to that point where you're starting to see some of these things come organically, where you're not just begging for somebody to come open a Wendy's, like they want to be here.
Right.
And
looking at even, somebody said, well, what about these older buildings? Well, we're seeing older buildings getting retail going, like Rose's winning
That's right.
big building down there.
That's right.
You got other businesses that came in there. You got Goodwill that came in
And
there.
at the end of the day, I can't tell anybody how to spend their money or what they can and can't buy. I can say, you know, this is a great building. I think you guys would be great there. You know, I had an investor or a developer contact me, and he was looking for 5 miles in the Walmart radius, 5 miles, and his prospect had parameters, and I would submit this or this or this, and he'd say nope, 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 nope. 12 months later, I found out it was Tractor Supply. Of course, I didn't know it at the time.
Right.
But they had in their mind where they wanted to go, and no matter what I showed them or tried to fit them into, they know what they want, and I can't convince them otherwise. So we can have all the buildings we want. If somebody wants to invest in this property and build this building, that's what they're going to do.
Right. Yeah, they're going to...
That's right.
And I know that it has to be... See, you're actually doing a sales pitch.
Oh, absolutely.
And I know sometimes you got there and says, oh, this is going to do it, this is going to do it, and it falls through.
Oh.
And I know it just has to be devastating to you.
We've had our hearts broke. We got really, really close.
I think in this business, you're always going to lose more than you win.
Absolutely.
Even in Charleston,
Right.
you know, places like that. But, you know, when you work a project for, especially on the industrial side, for 6 to 8 months, and you're in that finalist, and they don't select you, that is gut wrenching. When you leave it all out there and still lose.
We've been at the table and we're certain it was us, and to find out it wasn't us is devastating. It's a huge loss, but you pick back up and you come in the next day and you fight just as hard. Yeah. And like Dolton said, there's always going to be more people kicking tires than buying tires.
Right. Yeah. It's just like buying a new car or something like that.
That's right.
You might shop here and go here and here, but it is like a sales pitch.
Yeah.
Because and what you're selling is union.
Yep.
And all the things that's happening in union. You got to sell the schools.
That's right.
You know, and you got to sell the university. You got to sell this is right here. There's so much things that y'all have to put in there. People don't realize that you're not sitting in the office and waiting for somebody to just come by and say, hey, can we build here or this right here? That you've got to go out and find out, hey, this customer's looking to build here. Right. Now, do y'all have a network you go on to see who's building what or who's looking for what? I mean, how's that do it? I mean,
talk about commerce, where the lead comes from.
Well, leads, are you talking about different companies, different lead generation?
Right.
So there's a lot of ways to generate leads that we've done. We've done some direct contract work to go out and find companies that are ready to expand sort of in this region. To set up those direct face-to-face meetings. The majority of our leads comes from the Department of Commerce. They spend a lot of money on lead generation, making contacts with companies. Commerce typically disperses that to all of the different regional alliances, which we're part of the Upstate Alliance, along with 9 other counties. So we get those RFIs, which are requests for information, and we sort of... you fill those out to submit on each site. Sometimes you can only submit one. Sometimes I can submit Midway Green, Trachis, Cud, multiple sites for a certain project. And then that's basically where you open a project. That's where it starts.
And you have to be ready to turn on the dime. When the phone rings, your attention may shift just that quick.
I will say, and I can't, you mentioned earlier, but I can't give you exactly what every single day is like at the development board.
Every day is different. Every day is different, yeah. It's dictated by the email, by the phone call. It's dictated by what's the priority for today.
It is. And we host, familiarization tours, things like that, to get site consultants who are typically working projects contracted by companies to help them sort of weed out sites for the site selection process. And we try to bring them to Union and show them Union County. We feed them lunch. We do a lot of things like that. There's a lot of marketing missions that, Jami or I can participate in. We could go with Upstate Alliance. We could go with Department of Commerce. We can go pretty much anywhere in the world. There are overseas missions to go make those contacts. Now, I will say when we had the spec building, we had a huge percentage of our leads came direct from calling us because they wanted to come see the spec building. Obviously, without a building in your inventory like that, that sort of takes out some of those. Every once in a while, we might get one direct, but we're actually working right now on a new 3-year strategic plan. Obviously, a big part of that is our business development goals and plans that we want to put in there, and marketing's a huge piece of that. We're looking at doing some things a little different to try to generate more leads, because I do think the more swings at the bat you get, the better chance you do have a chance to hit one of those home runs.
And I'll tell you, Jerry, one of the things that we do really well, we often get to entertain prospects. They come into Union and they want to see the lay of the land. They want to have a Union County overview. And one of the things we do very well, and if you've ever heard the term walking the dog, we really do a good job of putting on the show. We roll out the red carpet, and I can literally do that if they need me to. But we really do a good job of loving on folks and making them feel at home, and showing them some Southern hospitality.
Well, during that process, you're building relationships
That's
with
right.
these key decision makers.
Right.
So obviously, you want them to feel at home when they come visit Union, because at the end of the day, they've got the list of exactly what they want, but you want to make them, it's like recruiting a 5-star prospect, right? You want them to be comfortable at your university.
At the end of the day, we want to be able to say welcome home.
Right.
Yeah.
And see, and the way I see when you're out there marketing and taking these to prospects is that everything in Union, from say, well, why we got an airport? That's a very important thing there.
It's a building block.
Exactly. Why do we have a tourism? Well, this is part of this building block here.
That's right.
The things that you have, more things you got going on, and can market to bring in industry stuff. That's why you need all these other things.
True tourism is, by definition, a form of economic development. Anything that generates revenue for your community is economic development, and tourism is a form of economic development.
Right. And that's, to me, it's, you got a Y here, YMCA here. Wow, you've got this. It might not be like the big cities, big grand, but you have it for this community.
Yeah, we love it. We love our Y. Yeah.
Right.
And you would definitely rather have it than not have it in your community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I've worked in communities that would kill, the councils there would kill for a YMCA like we have in their communities.
And
We're very fortunate here in Union. I don't know if a lot of people realize it, but we really, really are fortunate.
no, we've got just a short time on this question here, a little bit. What about the downtown prospect? I know that the university's got some buildings and stuff there. Will the downtown be growing, or any prospects there? I mean, it just seems like it's at a stalemate right now.
You want to talk about that?
I think this is perfect for you to talk about. It's what you talk about all day long, every day.
How ugly. Okay, so the city is actively pursuing a downtown development plan.
Right.
Lots of buildings have recently changed hands in the downtown area, and lots of those folks have plans, and some of those are restaurants and different aspects of retail.
Right.
So, I really don't want to overstate, because I don't want to talk about what a business owner is doing,
Right.
But there are several. It's not hard for us to convince someone that our downtown is on the precipice of something, with the university sitting there and all the foot traffic. You've got the courthouse there and folks going to and from lunch, City Hall folks going to and from lunch. It's just not a hard sell, and people see the charm and the ambiance of our downtown.
Right.
And although it may seem paused at this minute, I believe that it's temporary. I believe that things are about to heat up. So.
Well, I do a lot of driving. I go through a lot of small towns, and even some of the smaller towns, it's like their downtown is made a 360
That's right.
turnaround.
Woodruff.
Yes, Woodruff, one of them. Fountain Inn, some of those. It's just, and when I was going through there several years ago, it was kind of like Union Way.
That's right.
You know, it wasn't really active, but now it's like a 360 turn.
Well, I think the key is sort of getting those properties and those buildings into the hands of people who want to invest in those.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think
Is you can't buy it and hold it. You
Right.
got to buy it and put the money where your mouth is.
Exactly, because if you hold it, and like anything, it's going to deteriorate.
That's right.
so. We are excited about a lot of things that are happening downtown that maybe not happening as fast as we initially
like
thought
it.
or wanted. But you know, a lot of good conversations going on there, and I think downtown is in good shape in the near future.
It's frustrating for us because we can't sit down and say, oh, this great stuff is happening that we may have heard about or that we may think may be going to happen. At the end of the day, you just can't talk about things until you know they're going to happen, because things change in the
Exactly.
blink of an eye.
Like I said, they can say no.
That's right. That's right.
And
That's
you put it
right.
out there and get people's hopes up. And like
That's
I
right.
said, you got to wait till they sign on that dotted line or really go into doing it.
And we're bound by a level of confidentiality.
Exactly.
So-
now, I knew that y'all couldn't expose a lot of things that you're working on because
Right.
one thing, we don't want to jinx it either, you know.
Right,
and,
right.
And plus, we want to make sure that when you come out and say, "Hey, guess what? We got this," because we hear all kind of rumors.
Yeah.
Through this.
I do too.
You know,
Yeah, we do.
y'all get surprised too. Oh, they're coming here.
Yeah. People will call and say, "Is this happening?" I'm like, "If it is, I don't know anything about it." So there you go.
So, well, we're at the top of our hour, and I appreciate both of you for coming. It did. It goes by quick.
Thank you,
We've got
Jerry,
so
for
much to
having
cover,
us.
Jerry.
I know.
Can we come back?
You sure can.
Well, thank you for
Love it.
having us,
Season
Jerry.
2. The season finale, folks.
That's right. We'll be in season 2 next week. All right. Well, thank y'all for watching. And if you got any questions, just add them in the comments.
My phone
and
is
you
blowing
can be
up.
able to, if you see Jami or Dalton out there, ask them. They'll tell you something if they can tell you.
That's right.
So,
Call Jami.
Call Jami. Well, thank you very much, and stay tuned for next week. We're going to have a couple special guests. I never reveal them until that weekend. That way you get to see who it is and what they're going to talk about and what we're going to talk about. So I'm Jerry McKee.